Hi Flashes, this is Mrs. Reed. Today we are going to be finding volume of complex solids. So complex solids are when you have multiple solids that are joined together to create a complex solid. So what we are going to do is find the volume of each complex solid, and then to get the volume of the entire solid, we're going to add the two volumes together, and then that will give us our final answer. So if you guys look at A here, the first thing that we need to do is identify the different solids that we have. So if you guys look on top, we have a pyramid, and then our base is a rectangle. So this is a rectangular pyramid. And then on bottom, we just have a regular rectangular prism. Okay, so let's go ahead and find the volume of both of them. So let's start with the pyramid first. And if you guys remember, the rectangular pyramid had a volume formula of 1/3 length times width times height. And then we can go ahead and fill in or substitute in the numbers into the formula. So we're just going to bring down the 1/3. The length, if you guys notice, the length is right here, which if you look right below it, has a length of 25. The width is on the side, so if you look, it has the same measurement as that 12. And then the height is represented by this line, which they tell us is 9. Alright, so all we have to do is go ahead and plug this into our calculator. So if we take 1/3 times 25 times 12 times 9, we get a volume of 900 cubic inches. And then we need to still find the volume of our rectangular prism. And if you guys remember, the volume of a rectangular prism is length times width times height. So we can go ahead and fill in these numbers. So the length is 25, our width is 12, and the height is 10. So all that we need to do in our calculator is take 25 times 12 times 10, and we get a volume of 3,000 cubic inches. So once we find the volume of all of our complex, or of all of our solids, to find the volume of the complex solid, we're just going to add our two volumes together. So 3,000 plus our 900 would give us 3,900 cubic inches. As you guys know, you can pause this video at any time, but I'm just going to move on to the next one. So again, the first thing that we need to do is identify the different solids that we have. So if you guys notice, we have a cylinder, and then on top of the cylinder is a cone. So those are the two solids that we need to find the volumes of. So let's go ahead and start with the cylinder. So if you guys remember, the volume formula of a cylinder is pi r squared h. And they do want us to use 3.14 for pi. So when I go to start substituting in my numbers, pi will be 3.14. R means radius, and remember, radius is talking about the distance halfway through the circle. So our radius is 3. And don't forget to square it. And then the height of the cylinder is 15. Alright, so we can go ahead and solve this. So remember, PEMDAS, we need to simplify the exponent first. So 3 squared is 9, because 3 times 3 is 9. Multiply that times 15 times 3.14, and we get a volume of 423.9 cubic meters. So we just found the volume of the cylinder, and now we need to find the volume of the cone. So our volume formula of a cone is 1/3 pi r squared h. So go ahead and start substituting your numbers in. So pi is 3.14. We said that our radius was 3. And then the height of the cone, remember you have to look on the inside. So the height of it is 11. All right, so now we can go ahead and solve this. So remember, we need to simplify the exponent first. So 3 squared gives us 9. Take that times 3.14 times the 11, and then times the 1/3. Or remember, the same thing as multiplying by a third is dividing by 3. So you could multiply these 3 numbers first and then take it divided by 3. But either way, you should get a volume of 103.62 cubic meters. All right, so now that we found the volume of both of our solids, our last thing to do to get the whole entire volume of the complex solid is to add our two volumes together. So that 423.9 plus 103.62. And we get, oh, I typed it in wrong. 423.9 plus 103.62. We get a total volume of 527.52 cubic meters. All right, and a good thing to note too, make sure you guys are writing down the formula, showing the substitution and the answer, and showing me the addition part down here at the bottom, because on your guys' test, it will be in this format, and you guys will get 1 point for each line that you write down. Okay. Alrighty. So we have 2 more left. So let's look at C. So if you guys notice, we have half of a sphere, okay, and then we have a cone. So we only talked about just a normal sphere, but if we have half of it, that means that we are going to take half of our sphere formula. Okay, so if we start finding the volume of the sphere, and that volume formula was 4 pi r squared, well, if we have half of it in the picture, then we're just going to take half of the formula as well to get this volume. Okay. So let's go ahead and start substituting. Notice how they want us to keep pi in our answer, so we are not substituting 3.14 in for pi. So I'm leaving pi in my substitution. And then we can go ahead and fill in the other numbers that we have. So r is radius. So if you notice, they do give us the radius, since that's the line that's going halfway through the circle. So our radius is 10. And then we're going to take all that and divide it by 2. All right, so let's simplify our numerator. So 10 squared is 10 times 10, which is 100. And then 100 times 4 is 400. So we have 400 pi divided by 2. So I can just divide my coefficients here. So 400 divided by 2 gives us 200, and then don't forget that pi symbol. Okay, so the volume of the sphere that was cut in half is 200 pi centimeters cubed. And then we do still have the cone that we need to find the volume of. So remember, that volume formula was 1/3 pi r squared h. And then we can go ahead and start substituting our numbers in. So once again, do not substitute 3.14 in for pi, since they want us to keep pi in our answer. We already said that the radius was 10. And then the height of the cone is given by that 15. So let's go ahead and simplify. So take 10 squared first, which is 100. And then you can take your 100 times your 15 to get 1500. And then we can take that times a third. And we do get 500. And do not forget to drop down that pi symbol. So our answer, or the volume of the cone, is 500 pi centimeters cubed. All right, so if the volume of half of the sphere was 200 pi and the volume of the cone is 500 pi, so 200 pi and 500 pi, the last thing that we need to do to get the total volume is add those two numbers together. So 200 pi plus 500 pi would give us a total volume of 700 pi cubic centimeters. All right, so I'll have you guys try this next one on your own. I will go ahead and give you guys the formulas that you guys need. So if you guys notice, we do have a cube on bottom, and the reason why I know it's a cube is because our length and the width are the same exact measurements, and as we know, a square has all the same lengths, so that's how I know that it was a cube. And your volume formula for a cube is just the length times width times height. And then if you look on top, it is a pyramid, and since our base was the cube, which is a square, that means that this is a square pyramid. So that volume formula is 1/3 s squared h. Okay? So I want you guys to go ahead and pause this video and go ahead and try to do this problem on your own. And then when you guys are ready for the answer, hit play, and then I will walk you guys through it to see if you're right. Okay, so you guys should be done with this problem. So let's see how you guys did. So if you guys find the volume of the cube, just looking at the cube measurements, you have a length of 4 and a width of 4. And then your height, so talking about how tall the cube was 5. So you guys should have taken 4 times 4 times 5. And that gave you a volume of 80 cubic inches. Then your pyramid, if you found the volume of your pyramid, your sides were 4 because that talks about the square at the bottom. So you should have plugged in 4 for S and squared it. And then the height of the pyramid was talking about that 6. Okay. So when you solve this, 4 squared is 16. 16 times your 6 is 96. And then you can take that divided by 3 or times it by 1/3. And you get a volume of 32 cubic inches. So then the very last thing that you guys had to do to get the total volume is to take that 80 plus the 32, and you would get a total volume of 112 cubic inches. So good job if you guys got that. If not, make sure you fix your mistake and notice where your mistake was so that you don't make that same mistake again. And let your teacher know if you guys have any questions about this. Thanks.